He certainly is a power pitcher, can get the fastball up there in the mid-90s, making his major league debut. And CC, after you make this pitch, the wait is over.
CC came up as this #1 draft pick by the Indians at that time and was a phenomenal player coming up in the minor league system. Everyone knew who he was, the velocity that he had from 95 to 100 miles an hour as a young kid. But the good thing about CC, he could control it. He could put it outside, inside, up and down, elevate the ball. And he was one of those guys that was going to get a lot of strikeouts.
When I first saw him in the minor leagues was 1999. He was, one of the crown jewels in that system immediately. And my first impression of seeing him was that he was a large guy. He was a big young man. There's no question about it.
I mean, you don't see many guys come into Major League Baseball as a left-handed pitcher that could easily be playing a tight end. But, this kid was 6'7", in that 270 range when he broke camp with us back in 2001. And he was such a physically dominant presence that's the first thing that really jumped out at you. And then when you got to meet him, he was a teddy bear because as physically imposing as he was polar opposite as far as his personality.
He was like the gentle giant, and he never was a standoffish guy, never acted bigger than anybody else. And I think that's one of the reasons why his teammates loved him so much.
So we drafted CC as this, young, big pitcher out of Vallejo, California. And, just that bubbly personality, infectious personality, that big smile.
And with that big smile that he has, man, he's so marketable. I would love to be his damn agent.
And then all of a sudden, in no time, he's up at the big leagues. And, Charlie Manuel was the manager in 2001. And we were at spring training, and everybody kept saying, you got to see the CC. I think Charlie wanted him from day one, and he got his wish.
April of 2001 against the Orioles at then Jacobs Field. There was such a buzz. It was palpable in that building. And he comes out and looked like he belonged on a major league mound.
And boy, he didn't disappoint. That first inning against Baltimore, he came out, and I think he was throwing 98 miles an hour from the first pitch until that inning ended. At one point, he threw 27 consecutive fastballs. He was just overmatching Baltimore until finally Jeff Conine was able to time one up. You knew the Indians had a special one in CC.
But I'm telling you, what a great performance by that youngster right there. CC Sabathia, the crowd.
And they will let him know.
Give it up. That's exactly right.
They come to their feet for Sabathia's debut, and it was a good one. He will leave with a runner aboard, 2 outs in the 6th inning. We'll leave with him. Come back with more on Fox Sports Net.
As part of my assignment that day, I got to go down and talk to the Orioles, and I talked to Conine specifically, and we asked him about what pitch he hit for the home run, and Conine said, this guy, he's going to be good.
Oh, he was a dog, man. I mean, just straight out, he was ready at any given time. The manager gives him the ball. You can see it in his eyes. I mean, he's funny as hell any other day except when he pitches. You can see he totally locks it in on the day he pitches.
Every pitcher thinks they can hit. Every hitter thinks they can pitch. And CC's one guy that could actually hit. In fact, Charlie Manuel gave him the green light in Pittsburgh, bases loaded, and a 3-0 count. And I remember we were at Dodger Stadium, and he bangs one down the right field line deep into the Dodger bullpen for a home run. So, you know what? CC legitimately could swing the bat.
You better talk about CC's hitting. He loved talking about hitting as much as he did about pitching. And then there was the magical 2008 season, and he homered for the Indians, and then he was traded to the Brewers, and he homered for the Brewers. So he had homers for 2 different teams in 2 different leagues as a pitcher.
CC ought to be sitting on a fastball right here. He is. Hits it deep to center field. Junior will watch it go over his head and out of the ballpark. How about that?
You talk about the big man staying behind it. That was a line shot. And that's straight away center. Unbelievable. They are smirking. They're saying, did you see that?
He just kept getting better, being a dominant pitcher in the American League, and then, wins the Cy Young in 2007. And that was a big deal. The Indians had not had a Cy Young Award winner since Gaylord Perry in 1972. And I don't think anybody was surprised that it'd be CC that would get that Cy Young. And that kind of started the renaissance of pitching for the Indians. Cliff Lee wins the Cy Young the next year. Corey Kluber wins 2 Cy Youngs. Shane Bieber wins the Cy Young. But it was all started by, CC Sabathia. And, it's part of what I think should be a Hall of Fame career.
What's been wonderful is, yes, he had a fantastic career here. But what's great is that he was so involved in this community, not only while he was here, but since. He doesn't live in Cleveland, but yet his philanthropy is so tied to Cleveland and so tied to our schools. And it's something that this community truly appreciates.
Cleveland loves athletes who work hard, play hard, and feel like part of the community. CC felt like one of us, so they did not hold it against CC when he was eventually moved to Milwaukee and then went on to New York.
His wife was a big part of that too. He's got a tremendous partner in Amber. They've got a great family, but they have been an incredible team. And I'll tell you what, Amber's as big a part of this as CC, and we're the lucky ones because we still get to consider them part of Cleveland.
CC and his wife Amber created the Pitch In Foundation, and it started in Cleveland. His last year as a member of the organization, he had his first fundraiser, and from that point on, it's continued to grow. And they've really had 3 cornerstones that they focus on. Number 1 is All-Star Baseball Camp that they provide youth every summer. They have a backpack program. The last thing is field renovations. That's pretty special, and we think it's cool that it started while he was a member of our organization right here in Cleveland.
CC has always been, if you follow his career, a champion for African Americans playing baseball. And he was always very active and engaged as a spokesperson, and a very visible advancement of that while he was here. And it's amazing that he's maintained that legacy for so many years, 20 plus years in our community, and it's made us a better city.
I think from day one in his professional career, CC recognized that being a young minority athlete in the game of baseball, that it was his duty to step up and give back and be a leader in the community. The role he played with the Boys and Girls Club in Northeast Ohio, he was very invested in inspiring those kids to do great things.
Every place that CC has gone, he's made a difference in other people's lives. And for him to receive this Lifetime Achievement Award, it couldn't go to a better person. Nothing but great things for CC Sabathia.
CC's so deserving of this Lifetime Achievement Award, not only for what he did on the field with all his achievements, but what he did off the field. And that lasting legacy will impact youth and impact this community for years to come.
He's one of 17 players to have ever struck out 3,000 batters in a season, and the only left-handers to do it are both in the Hall of Fame, Randy Johnson and Steve Carlton. You add CC Sabathia to that list, and again, you're talking about a guy that's on the Mount Rushmore, the greatest pitchers in the history of this game.
You look at his numbers, and to me, they're Hall of Fame worthy. And I have been fortunate enough to have a Hall of Fame vote for a number of years. If I'm still fortunate enough to have a Hall of Fame vote when CC appears on the ballot, he's getting my vote.
But I go back to one other thing. He is, without question, one of the finest people that's ever worn an Indians uniform. And more importantly than that, every teammate that he played with, whether it was Cleveland, Milwaukee, or the Yankees, will tell you one thing. Their best teammate in their career was CC Sabathia, and not many players ever are given that kind of praise.